Good morning once again and welcome back to Budget Day Live. We are now going to be joined in the next 5 minutes by both the President of the Confederation of Indian Industry and the President of FICCI, Adi Godrej and Nanalal Kidwai respectively. We have promised you to get to you the biggest corporate names, and of course after 9 o'clock our political debate will begin. My first question to Adi Godrej, who's also Chairman of the Godrej Group and President of the CII is, Mr. Godrej, do you think the Finance Minister will concentrate on bridging the fiscal deficit to cater to expectations of credit rating agencies, or will there be political pressure on him to announce SOPs and schemes for a pre-election budget?
Well, I expect this to be a very responsible budget. I think electorally also now it is clear, if you look at the last 5 years, whether it is in the states or otherwise, people are looking for development and progress. People are not looking for handouts and SOPs. So the old thinking that pre-budget governments tend to hand out SOPs is gone. And I think people will appreciate it in 2014 if the government is able to create a sense of growth and progress.
Yeah.
Well, also joining us is Nanalal Kidwai. My question to you, Nana, is again the same. Will you expect a very responsible budget from Chidambaram in a pre-election year, or do you think the political pressure on him is going to be immense as far as SOPs and schemes go, because that's what the party has really laid it out for him?
I think the Finance Minister has already very clearly declared his intent, and I'm sure this has happened after consultation both within his party and others, to indicate that fiscal discipline is the need of the day. And you're right, I'm sure some of it is with an eye to credit rating agencies, but it's really beyond just the rating. Today, you saw the effect when the fiscal deficit was sought to be controlled with the diesel price hikes and removing the oil subsidies, and how our stock market responded, which was very, very positive. And with that stock market increasing, improving, FII money coming in, we saw a positive change in sentiment across the board. So the fact that the fiscal deficit is being closely watched by all players and investors in India and into India is a very important indication. And the fact that when the right steps were taken to contain the fiscal deficit and finally begin to remove this huge fuel subsidy, which we have borne the brunt of for the last couple of years, we as a country, what has happened as a result of the correct moves done by the Finance Ministry, I'm sure, is an endorsement to him that the policy is a right one. So it's well beyond credit rating agencies. It is to do with setting the right investment framework for the country. Of course, I'm sure he has is a lot of pressure on the expenditure side. The need for large expenditure plans. We know that we've got the new food security bill, which will add as well. But the ability of the economy and our system to absorb this money, however allocated, is also to be seen. We have seen that not all the money allocated for this year was indeed utilized. So the ability of the system to ensure that the money goes to the people it's intended for and is spent in the manner it is required to be spent is also a challenge. So we do have an issue in terms of, yes, we want to spend, but we have to make sure it's executed right and executed completely.
Indeed, I'd like to now get in a view from both heads of the FICCI and the CII, going to the CII first on what their recommendations are for growth. So Mr. Godrej, to you first, both as CII President and in your own capacity. What direction in your view is required for spurring the growth of the economy that you're expecting from the Finance Minister in this budget?
I think we'll have about a 5.5% growth this year, which will be the lowest growth rate in 10 years. It's certainly not desirable. We must accelerate our growth rate, and the best way, Arnab, to accelerate our growth rate is to quickly bring in the goods and services tax. The goods and services tax reform will by itself add 2 percentage points, other things being equal to our GDP growth rate. It's a tremendous reform. It will address a lot of our macroeconomic issues. It will help exports. It will help GDP growth, as I said. It will bring down inflation. So this is something the finance minister should work at. He has done a very good job in engaging the states in this discourse, and I hope he makes a major announcement on this front. If the GST is brought in, say towards the middle of the next financial year, that could add tremendously to GDP growth
on what he's laying out there to
I
you.
just want to ask a specific question, which is, hi, Omkar here.